special thanks to Miss Tishia Burnett for the V.O. Hughley interview at the FITZ Casino.
Chances are. Where's Silly Green?
Okay, I'm Michael Tabor. You're watching Word Up Production on the
I'm gonna be
street.
able to get up after this. This is the last interview. The next one gonna be at the orthopedic surgeon. What you say?
You're probably right. I had to keep the camera in the car and run out there and get it.
For sure.
I'd like to thank you for letting me do this interview. Word Up Production deals with crime prevention.
Right.
I've been on the internet, Comcast,
Right.
everywhere since 1985.
Sure.
MC Hammer was my first artist. From Hammer to Prince, Teddy Riley, Blackstreet,
Sure.
Police Sheriff Department. I was the #1 independent film director in Memphis. I've done 18 independent films airing on Comcast. The reason why I wanted to interview you is because I listen to you every day on 103.5 radio station. You know, you really need to run for office, some kind of office. You know, a lot of things that you say, I agree with you. If Trump can run for president and do everything that he do, and someone bring back, make America great again. When was America great, and who was it great for?
Well,
It wasn't great for everybody.
Well, here's the thing. He's only allowed to do what the people who support him accept.
That's true.
So I think that I just think that there's such a moral barometer in there are certain people that wouldn't allow certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't about it says more about the people that allow him to do the things that he does than it is about him, because you can only do what people allow. And I think it's ironic that we live in a country that is yelling about crime but is willing to vote for somebody who's a convict. So I never wanted to be like people that I had a disdain for, but I can understand you're making the point, and I can only say that you need to ask the people that expect so little from him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We sent $99 million to Ukraine,
Right.
and we got all this poverty
Sure.
in America. You got homelessness, you got broken families, you got crime. There are a lot of things that, as a taxpayer, I'm 64.
Right.
I was 8 years old when King got killed, and he came to Chicago. I live in Chicago, and a lot of the black people were scared of King because they said they didn't understand the unity and the non-violence. They were talking, black people were talking about they need to kill that nigga. A lot of black people was against King because of the fear. But the crime that black people are committing on one another is worse than racism, anything that white people did to us. And on my program, I always talk about free the white man sometime. Be responsible for the actions that you do, because we have an obligation to the people that died for us.
I think you're absolutely right, but here's the thing. Crime itself doesn't stop. If you can't replace, you can't just ask people to put something down without asking to pick something up. People always reference the crime in Chicago, but they don't talk about the unemployment rate.
That's true.
Or the opportunities that educationally they have. So, and there's this belief that crime is that there's an inherent moral deficiency in us. Mm-hmm. Crime is about proximity. Mm-hmm. Show me a safe poor area, black, white, or Latin. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to stop crime, we have to put opportunities in this place. And I think it's something the conversation that the nation is reticent to have. Mm-hmm. People don't want to be criminals. Yes. People want safe neighborhoods, but they also want opportunities. So if we were truly invested in making sure we had safer streets, we'd make sure that we had streets that were fair. We make sure we had streets that had more opportunities, either educationally or from an employment standpoint. So I think that we've always looked for somebody to blame, but not for somebody to look up and to pick up. And I just refuse to accept the idea that we are different. Do you know everything is a fight for resources? So
That's true.
People always talk about black people like crabs in a bucket, but they never point out the fact that crabs don't belong in a bucket.
That's true.
They don't belong in an artificial environment that is designed to make people fight to get resources. So I can understand your point, and I agree with it, but it isn't a moral deficit on our part. It is the idea that we live in a place where people are determined to make sure that they kind of shine a light on the things we do wrong, and not the things we do right. Crime is about proximity, and so if you talk about black on black crime, which isn't a real thing, if something happened to a wife, the first place that people look is at the husband. Crime is about who you're around and what you do.
That's true.
And
That's
so
true.
we need to make sure that we're having a conversation that is both truthful and has a perspective of a more expansive perspective.
Yeah, we are great, powerful people, and I'd like to thank you for the interview that you given your time to do. And I really wish you would try to. You ever thought about running for some political office? You have not. You know, a lot of comedians over the years, the truth, you can tell people the joke, and you can put the truth in it. And a lot of comedians are very.
Been interested in the truth.
I'm talking about the people can make them.
No, what the people are.
Yeah, but America hasn't. It's about economics. It's always about a dollar.
Here's the thing. We always believed it was about economics, but there are some things that are past that. Truth has no master. It is what it is. But if we're basing everything on the truth, like it's and I talked about this tonight, they want to blame everything on the fact that it's diversity is the problem. It's affirmative action that's the problem. The problem in America is America's always needed someone to both exploit and then blame things on.
That's true.
Like you're lazy, but while you're building America.
I see where you're coming from.
And so I just want us to have a conversation that is both specific and truthful, but also it takes into account the reality of the confines we find ourselves in.
Okay, well, thank you for this interview. It's been wonderful.
His knees hurting. He ain't gonna be able to get up.
Yeah, he ain't lying.
Next interview will be at the surgery.
You know, you keep up the good work. I watch you on.
Thank you,
I listen to you on 103.5. Steve Harvey come on in the morning. You come on in. You got a lot of followers, man.
Thank you, man.
You really do. You got a lot of followers. And thank you for this time. All I want to do is just take one picture with you.
For sure. Let's do it now while you can still move. Let's.
Thank you, man. How old are you, man? Are you from Chicago too? Where you from?
From Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Okay. One more question. How long you been a comedian? Where you get your start from?
I started. I don't know if I can say this, but I started talking shit in barbershops, and then it just extended to this. Okay. So it really doesn't feel different. And there's always a dude on his knees with a microphone there too. So
it's your charisma is what it is. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And if he said something wrong, he would print a retraction.
That's true.
You read the obituary, so you knew if somebody was dead. So there was a thirst for knowledge that I think people just don't have anymore. Knowledge was we'd have you could get your ass good and whipped for taking your newspaper, take your daddy's newspaper before he read. You could have the funnies.
Yeah.
But if you touched his newspaper before he got all the information, the black men I knew were insistent on having a wealth of information.
Let me ask you one question. Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson.
Sure.
I hadn't met him, but I met a lot of people in his, When I used to live in Chicago, and we used to drive to Gary, Indiana.
Right.
Gary, Indiana was a poverty place.
Still now.
Exactly. When the Jacksons came out, every high school had talent shows to see if there's any other kids, because I got in one.
Right.
Now, Michael Jackson always talked about he didn't have a child life. We didn't have a damn child life. When we got out of school, we changed our clothes. We was hustling, redeeming bottles. We was cutting grass. We was trying to make some money to bring home.
Right.
At 10 and 12, he was rich. We wanted to be him.
Right.
I don't understand. He made a sacrifice to be the greatest entertainer. It'd be worth it to me to give up the child life.
But that's a matter of perspective. I'll say this. That is how bad black people need to feel good.
That's what now?
That's how bad we need to feel good. We are inspired by people we see doing things that were unimaginable to us.
That's true.
And that's a product of having no experiences where we had aspirational figures. So our aspirational figures were the entertainers. But the truth of the matter is, black women are the most educated segment of our society. Why? Because they watched Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby had a different world, and all they talked about was HBCUs. Black people saw that and went to school. So we have to see things and then we can do them. So I can understand people's points, and even Michael Jackson, his point. But people will do what you allow them to do. But when somebody makes you feel good, like people can't believe that Bill Cosby could do what they're accusing him of because they look at Cliff Huxley.
That's true.
People can't believe that R. Kelly could do what he did because we believed he could fly. That is how bad we need to feel good.
You ever heard of this guy named Judge Joe Brown?
Of course.
Okay, I worked with Judge Joe Brown from 1995 to 1998. He got that TV show through me. I was the #1 independent film director. I did a movie called Reality. It's on my YouTube channel. I did it in 1998. He used that for his screen test to get that TV show. Once he made it, he didn't reach back. I met Prince in 1999. Prince supported me because of the work that I was doing. That Prince, that Judge Joe Brown didn't do.
Right.
And so here's a man that came back and tried to run for mayor last year. And so a personal relationship with Judge Joe Brown, I admired him. I helped put him where he was. But he didn't reach back.
But to what end, though? To what end? You helped him be where he was for what? What was it?
Okay, WordUpProductions started before him.
But I know.
When I worked with him, he got involved because I was making things happen with crime prevention under Martin Luther King. He got killed in Memphis, as you know. Once he got what he wanted to, he opened doors for himself. He left the police, sheriff department, all the agencies that we had pulled together. I got the 501c3 since 1991.
Sure.
He didn't reach back to fund the work, the stuff. And so every agency I contacted, they wouldn't touch it because Judge Joe Brown was in it. They wanted to know, well, why he won't sponsor something that you...
If you're walking along and a person who's down there, look, they ask you for money to eat or money for anything.
Yeah.
It's never what they do with the money. It's the spirit you give it to. So you gave what you gave Judge Brown or anybody, the spirit. Your spirit was pure. You gave it to him.
That's true.
For whatever reason. It diminishes your spirit and the spirit you gave it to somebody if you expect something back.
Well, we worked together as a team. I helped keep him in office. I did a lot for him because we had a goal, a unity among our people. But when he got the opportunity, even Commercial PL contacted him. A lot of the agencies and asked him what happened between us together. Every agency, everybody I tried to get sponsorship from, they said it wasn't about me. It was about the work we was doing.
But what if it was for him, about him? What if that was his goal?
That was his goal. But
okay, but what if it was?
It was.
The spirit you gave your help was blessed.
I didn't stop. I was just disappointed.
But you can't be disappointed unless you had an expectation.
Well, I understand what you're saying. But let me ask you a question. And I promise I'm through. I promise. I promise. Now I'm through because I'm taking up all the time. I'm taking up all the time.
You don't have to be through.
I'm through. I'm taking up too much. I'm sorry.
But here's
Go ahead.
what I hear. Obviously, when you do something for someone, we're human, and so there will be a level of expectation.
But if it was for me personally, the crime prevention work, we needed funds. He became a multi-millionaire. Before he became that millionaire, I looked at his screen test. I gave him the material to get it. He didn't reach back for the projects. It wasn't about me. I had all those agents. Do me a favor, if you get a chance, go to Tabor.WordUpProductions, put in reality. Look at that. I did it in 1998. He did that and got the TV show. He just didn't reach back for the projects we was working on. And we supposed to be working toward God's work.
So, Moses led people to the promised land, right?
That's true.
But he never got to go in.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Sometime your task is to take people certain places. And the gift that you get is knowing that you did it. It is almost like if we go to a bar, you look nice tonight. I say I want to buy you a drink. Now, that drink could either be an investment or something I gave you just because I felt you look nice. What you hate is for somebody to give you something and then want something back. Right. That you haven't articulated what the goal is. You have done a great thing. A great thing. And this thing that makes me sad is that you're disappointed that it wasn't reciprocal. Because he can't see what you see. The thing about people, and it's not just black people, it is that we think everybody sees things, like a lot of people get mad because I would never do to somebody what they did to me.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Exactly. Yeah.
But they ain't you.
Yeah.
They ain't you. If you could do it, you'd fuck with somebody that was you, and then you would never have these problems. But that's not it.
But the whole city supported him. We believed in him. He didn't reach back. Disappointed a lot of people.
Okay, but he disappointed you
He did.
because you had an expectation that people would assess and assert themselves the way you do. You know what I do on stage, and this is true. I don't expect shit from them. If they laugh, they do. If they don't, they don't. What I expect is to be as clear as I can be. You're a talented man, and your works have spoken for themselves. They've spoken for themselves. What people want, and I think it's misguided, is to expect that. It's almost like planting a tree and expecting to have fruit tomorrow. There's some trees you plant that don't bear fruit for a long time.
That's true.
But the fruit that it does bear is substantive.
Well, meeting you, I never gave up. I've met a lot of people other than him. But the goal we had,
You had.
but he was part of it. We talked about this
It was
stuff.
transactional for him.
I saw that. That's what Prince said. Prince said the same thing.
If it is, we can't have wanted the same thing. We can't have. You talk to a woman, she said, "Just tell me the truth. You can have what you want, right?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to lie to me, right?
Yeah.
What people think is that everybody has the same assessment, latitude, and perspective they do. They don't. But I will tell you this: the one thing that I refuse to let people categorize black people, we're no better or no worse than anybody else.
That's true.
But when people ascribe a level of deviousness to us,
Mhm.
there is no such phenomenon. If there's black on black crime, explain to me Russia and the Ukraine.
That's true.
Explain to me the Mexican cartels.
That's true.
Explain to me what happens in China or Pakistan.
Why do the media always jump on black
Because
people?
we have co-opted a narrative about ourselves. We have India and Pakistan, same country.
Mhm.
The Middle East, the same people. They have the same diets, same rules, maybe a different deity they ascribe to, but almost everything else is the same. We have decided that we're going to. The one thing that if they don't do anything else for black or brown people, I hope they do one thing. We're human. Human. We ain't all kings and queens, and we aren't all criminals. Whatever that man did or didn't do, he got what he got from you. But you got something else. You got to hold your head up, and you got to look at yourself.
And I got to meet you.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I got to meet you, man. I got to meet you.
Don't be mad at him.
Well,
So, you only what they say. Everything rises to its own level. It seeks its own level. A creek can only go as high as it can. But people like you want things. When I'll never forget this. As a man, he was talking about Alexander Graham Bell, and he invented the telephone. In order to invent the telephone, you had to want to talk to people that weren't even there. Imagine telling somebody, I feel like I want to talk to somebody.
That do sound crazy. That do sound crazy.
And that's what you did. You wanted to talk to a mindset and a reality that didn't exist then. It didn't exist then. If you look at things that happened 5 years ago, you couldn't have imagined that. So sometimes you don't get to see what it is that you brought. You don't get to see what you cultivated.
Thank you.
But I can tell you, I hate that it hurts your feelings, But I can also tell you this: the greatest men I've ever met never knew what they did.
Yeah.
Otis Redding did never know the song he made was going to be one of the biggest hits ever. He never knew it.
You gotta listen, because Prince told me this 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, when Prince sponsored me, he looked at it, he said that the work that I did merited supporting, because I brought people together that nobody had did. I was the first to bring the police, sheriff, all these agencies, and I was writing, producing, directing back in '90 before Tyler Perry. I did something. All I needed was just the funds, and he had it, and he walked away.
Can I ask you something? What would you want to have happened?
I wanted him to. All I asked him was just to send the money back so I can continue the work we was doing.
What would that look like?
What would the money look like?
He sent you a check and did what?
I asked him for $50,000. That's it. To keep things. I had about 600 kids and women. I had 12 agencies. Most of the agencies poverty aid. There are a lot of people that don't have 501c3, but they actually doing work. Period.
Do you know when the first time I got a 501c? And I'm 60 years ago when I first got one.
Go ahead.
7 years ago.
7 years. They hard to get. Yeah.
The fact that you're doing things, I just lament for you the fact that you don't understand your impact. And you couldn't because you're in it.
But I had so many people. What the judge is gonna do?
have
What y'all
so
gonna
many
do?
people.
People was really waiting. We had poor thing. Crime is so bad in Memphis. It's ridiculous. It really is.
But crime is not a function of Joe Brown. It's not a function. Crime is about proximity and lack of opportunity. So more than anything, more than telling me that there's crime, what do we do? What do we replace it with?
You need to replace it with people. We got churches on every corner. What we need is economics. People that's actually doing the work, that's organized, that's actually. Money is a tool. It helps.
A hammer's a tool. But if it ain't got a nail, what does it do? you really have to understand this. People have to have a fucking purpose. If you don't give a child direction, what does it do? If you don't give a dog direction, what does it do? If you don't give a family a structure, what does it do? If you don't give a church or a nation a structure, what does it do? We're all the same thing. All the same thing. You are a leader, and sometimes leaders don't know what has happened until they're not here anymore. That is the. If you're out front, you can't see what's behind you.
I see what you're saying.
But I want you do not be disappointed in what somebody didn't do. Is what you did. There is an acceptance that we have that crime is a moral failing in us, and I'm not telling you it's not horrible. I watched the man tell me. He did this commercial. He talked about how his grandfather and grandmother were alcoholics, and his mother became on drugs. But then he blamed the Mexican cartel. The biggest indicator of whether somebody would be dependent on something is whether somebody they knew was.
Mm-hmm.
If you were an abuser, you're probably gonna have people who are abusers. If you were an alcoholic, you're probably feel it. You have set an example of something that people didn't see, and that takes a little longer sometimes.
I got you. Thank you.
It does. But Joe Brown,
man, to see a man to go to his with the money that he made, and I asked him. I said, Yana, why didn't
now,
you
how do you
spend?
know how much money you made?
Because when we talked, the man, he made over 100 million. And the thing is, when I talked to him the few times,
I don't know that that's true, but you tell me.
Well, you know, the thing is, he once offered 50 grand, and I had everything lined up to receive the money.
So
it never came.
If today, you could do a thing today, because I can't do anything about it, nor I'm not gonna take somebody else's burden. What is it you want now? That kind of satiates this desire, because I see in you a thing you want to happen.
I have the ability to bring people together with no money, but when I get them together, I don't have the funds. Every agency in this, I was the first. Nobody has done what I've done. If you go to my YouTube channel, my website, you see, I put Harrington in office, the very first black mayor, back in 1991, 92. He came through Word Up Production.
And what did you get for that?
I had put him in the mayor's office, but once he became the mayor, I was just a person that helped put him in the mayor's office.
So maybe you're putting the wrong people in place.
You know what? Before the internet came, everybody came to Word Up Production. I was on Comcast 3 days a week, independent, public access. But I was pulling people together and putting them where they should have been. Everybody came to Word Up, and they got the positions. They didn't reach back. That's all it was.
So what does that say?
They say they just out for themselves.
Maybe you picked people.
Today, I went in 2019, I went to Burbank, California, and I met with Mayor Luddy about a movie tribute to Prince. I wrote, produced, and directed. Okay, I didn't have an agent, didn't know nobody. I left the stuff up there with her. Then 2020 came. I still got material that I could write, produce, and direct to generate the money to put in Word Up. I just haven't met the person that's willing to look at my work and look at my history.
But what
if you took the time to look at some of my stuff?
But what if I did, and I didn't see it?
If I tell you what, if you look at my stuff and you feel that there's nothing credible, me based on watching your
if I see
history.
it incredible, maybe I don't have the skill set, or the people that you're with that have the skill set to take what you want.
I tell you what, if you look at my stuff and give me your opinion on it, I'm 35. I ain't got very much years left. But my history speaks for itself. I don't know, but God gave me a gift of vision. And I grew up in the North. If you look at my work, the stuff that I pulled together, and you say, how could this guy do this? Write, produce, direct, and star in. I was before Tyler Perry. I just didn't use my talent to make it to Hollywood. I used